pain made it difficult for her to concentrate on anything else. Later, Aragorn stared at the cold white stars for a while. Then he asked Glader, could the Vault of Souls contain Eldunari that the riders hid from Galbatorix?
No,
said Glader without hesitation.
it's impossible. Aramis and I would have known Grail had sanctioned such a plan, and if any Eldunari had been left on Rowengard, we would have found them when we returned to search the island. It's not so easy to hide a living creature as you seem to think.
Why not?
If a hedgehog rolls into a pool, that doesn't mean that he becomes invisible, now does it? Minds are no different. You can shield your thoughts from others, but your existence is still apparent to anyone who searches the area.
Surely with a spell you could...
If a spell had tampered with our senses, we would have known, for we had wards to prevent that from happening.
So, no Eldunari, Aragorn concluded bluntly.
Unfortunately not.
They flew on in silence, as the waxing three-quarter moon rose above the jagged peaks of the spine. By its light, the land looked as if it were made out of pewter, and Aragorn amused himself by imagining that it was an immense sculpture the dwarves had carved and stored within a cave as large as Alagasia itself. Aragorn could feel the pleasure Glader took in their flight. Like Aragorn and Saphira, the old dragon seemed to welcome the opportunity to leave behind their concerns on the ground, if even only for a short while, and to soar freely through the sky. It was Saphira who spoke next. Between the slow, heavy flaps of her wings, she said to Glader,
Tell us a story, Edwithil. What manner of story would you hear? The tale of how you and Aramis were captured by the Forsworn, and how you then escaped.
At this, Aragorn's interest increased. He had always been curious about the matter himself, but he had never worked up the courage to ask Aramis. Glader was quiet for a span, then said,
When Galbatorix and Morzan returned from the wilds and began their campaign against our order, we did not at first realize the severity of the threat. We were concerned, of course, but no more than if we had discovered that a shade was stalking the land. Galbatorix was not the first rider to go mad, although he was the first to have acquired a disciple such as Morzan. That alone should have warned us of the danger we faced, but the truth was only apparent in hindsight. At the time, we failed to consider that Galbatorix might have gathered other followers, or that he would even attempt such a thing. It seemed absurd that any of our brethren could prove susceptible to Galbatorix's poisonous whisperings. Morzan was still a novice. His weakness was understandable.
Fuck.
But those who were already riders in full, we never questioned their loyalties. For only when they were tempted did they reveal the extent to which their spite and weaknesses had corrupted them. Some wanted revenge for old hurts. Others believed that by virtue of our power, dragons and riders deserved